Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, your home for NFL Draft Talk. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're looking at wide receivers. And for all of those that are new, just to remind you, we do the real grade at the end of the episode. Take an NFL team, go back 3 years and look at their draft class, give it a grade. And today we're going to be doing my hometown Chicago Bears. As all the Bears fans, I'm sure, very hungry for receivers this year. So thought it'd be fitting to put them on this episode. But without further ado, we're talking about receivers. Receivers probably have the second most gradable traits. So if you've been following me, you know each position has a gradable trait that I do out of 5 being the highest. For receivers, I grade speed, agility, route running, ball skills, and hands. So, excuse me, that's 5 different skills. Most of those speak for themselves, but definitely when looking at ball skills, that can be a big package. That can mean a lot of different things. When you're looking at ball skills, you're talking about a receiver's ability to track the ball down the field. There's people on deep passes that just can't locate the ball or get themselves under the ball. Now, usually most receivers can do that, but some guys coming out of college just don't have the good location skills and tracking. Then there's timing. When you're going up for a jump ball, do you go up at the correct time? And then what's your ability to go up? So these are guys with, you know, the basketball verticals that can go up and moss somebody, as they used to say. So that would be somebody with some high ball skills, but they all go hand in hand. And hand-eye coordination also goes into that, you know, people that can make those circus catches and whatnot. So everything else though, top end speed, agility, which basically comes after the catch, and then route running, all that stuff. You know, you can pretty much understand. And hands is a little different. Some people just think a catch is a catch. That's not the case. You want to see people that catch with their hands, not with their bodies, because people that catch with their bodies, even if they're good at it, eventually going to have incompletions or have it bounce off their chest and could be an interception. You want guys that can catch naturally with the hands, because those are the ones that can make the tougher grabs when it's time to. So. All right, so that's kind of what you're looking at in receivers. But then I would also say that with receivers in the draft, it has changed quite a bit. It's much like the running backs, where they're kind of a dime a dozen. And I didn't really get into this on the running back special, but the thing with running backs is that the run game didn't go away. As much people have always said for a few years, it's a passing league, run game's dead. I've always rejected that. I've always said football goes in cycles and it'll come back, and we're already in that area. We're seeing running backs go higher in the draft, and we're also seeing people put importance on running the ball, because people have to understand there's a difference between a running back committee and a lead back that can shoulder, you know, the whole load. And so people starting to see the value in that. But anyway, so with running backs, it's different because with running backs, there's no top. I wouldn't say their top running back is of high value like a top receiver is. And we're starting to see that with even Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers not wanting to give him all that money. I mean, you could be a star at running back, but at the end of the day, these two positions are dependent on other people. And so I've always, you know, said that with running backs, they're not as valuable in the draft, just because if you have the right offensive line or the wrong offensive line, it's going to drastically affect whoever you put in the backfield. There's small things a running back can do, but for the most part, if you got guys opening up lanes left and right, you know, you could get any number of running backs to get back there. And I think I talked a little about Corey Clement, who was undrafted last year and played with the Eagles. I mean, it's just one of those examples right there. And so with receivers, again, you know, it matters who you're throwing to and who you're around. If you go to a team like the Chicago Bears last year, yeah, they could just put double coverage or bracket you up and nothing's going to happen. But you go to somewhere like the Saints, where you not only got somebody that can put the ball where you need it, but you also got a lot of weapons around you. Of course you could flourish and eat there. So people got to understand, you know, that it's circumstantial with certain positions, and receiver is definitely one of them. But the thing with receiver, and I'm sorry to go long on this, is that it used to be a certain type of receiver. It used to be that prototypical 6 foot to 6'1" receiver. They wanted a certain leg length so you could be able to run routes, quick, sharp cuts, all those good things. That used to be that's what a receiver is. But now we've got to that point where, okay, your legs are real long, you too tall. That's fine. We'll throw back shoulder fades to you. You'll be a possession guy. You'll be a red zone guy. Oh, you're too short, but you're really quick. We can put you in the slot. We can do these type of routes with you. Oh, you short, but you actually are fast and you got great ball skills. You can actually jump. You can still be an outside receiver. You know, we'll do this and that. And so that has been a change over the last 5 to 8 years that wasn't there before. And so as a result, the receiver pool went from, you know, a select few, you know, you might have the Julio Joneses or whatnot. Okay, that guy could be a star, and then you got a couple more throughout the rounds to you can get a receiver at any point in time in the draft. Now, like I said, the difference with running backs, the top level receivers are still top level receivers. You see them and you know them when you see them. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't get quality in different rounds. And you look at Jarvis Landry as a 2nd round pick. Keenan Allen, I think, was a 3rd round pick. We know AB was a late round pick. I mean, you know, it's all over the place. So anyway, without further ado, this will be a longer episode because we got like almost 20 guys to talk about. And I've been ranting about receivers. But anyway, let's just jump into the receivers. So number one on and this isn't in any order, it's just the order I graded them. We got Calvin Ridley from Alabama. Now, Calvin Ridley, I think, is the clear-cut number one, though. He has a lot of different things. I try to give receivers labels of what type of receiver they are, and he pretty much has everything except for the red zone threat, and I think he might be able to do a little of that. But he's a possession guy. He's a speed guy. And he's a yak guy, an explosive yak guy. So, yeah, of course, at 6'1", 190, he's not a big bully, but he got great running skills once he gets the ball. He also can take the top off and go downfield. Now, the top thing about Calvin is his route running. He's not the best route runner I've seen come out of college, but he's definitely up in that list where he understands how to set up routes. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, yes, you can have sharp cuts and be quick with your feet, but can you set up a route like an NFL player? Because once you get to the next level, the subtle moves are everything and getting open. So can you stutter at the line? Can you stem on your route and then break it off to where you actually want to go? Almost like a boxer. Can you set that opponent up to get free? And he does that so well. I mean, college DBs have no way of guarding him. So I think he has some next level route running ability. And then the only thing I would say he needs to really work on is his blocking. Like most receivers, his blocking is just, it isn't there. And, again, we just really, got to see what he does in the 40. I think with every receiver, the 40 is the most important, or this position is the most important with the 40 in cornerback, but I'll talk about that later. And then, so we'll see if Ridley gets bigger. 190 is a little light. He did have trouble making catches in traffic, and holding on to the ball. So we'll see how he, puts on weight and still maintains his speed. So then we got Christian Kirk, Texas A&M. This, is a speed receiver, explosive yak receiver. He's got elite return ability, as we know. And his biggest thing really is just, his speed. We'll see again. We got to see what the top end speed is going straight in a straight line. But I think right now he's bringing in great, return ability. He's bringing in great speed. Honestly, I would like to see more tape on him if I can, because I never really got a chance to see what his ball skills are. Can he go up and get it? And he didn't have that great of a route tree. He didn't run that difficult route. He ran a lot of crossing routes, a lot of sweeps and screens and things of that nature. So never really got a chance to see a great route tree from him. So I would like to see what's his ability to run routes and does he understand how to run routes. Then we got Dante Pettis out of Washington, a straight possession receiver. He didn't show anything great that I thought I might see out of him. He seemed like a kind of above average possession receiver. He does add return ability to his game. And I actually do like, I like the way he blocks and gets after blocks. He could get better, but I like the way he goes after it. But yeah, 6'1", 195, similar, weight and type to Calvin Ridley, but without the explosive speed. I think he's a guy though that really understands how to catch the ball and how to get out of bounds and could be a very, very safe third or fourth option. Then we got Cortland Sutton out of SMU, the guy that a lot of people are calling number 2. I like Cortland Sutton. The thing with him, he's definitely a red zone type receiver. He's also a yak receiver, but he really does not have a lot of route running. His routes aren't good and they didn't ask him to do a whole lot. So that's really going to count against him. And he does lack speed. I mean, with taller guys, they're usually striders. So they'll pick up yards kind of quick because their legs are longer, but he definitely does not have top end speed. And even with his hands, I saw him drop a lot of passes. And I saw him try to body catch the ball too often. Now, when he's going up over somebody and he's showing off his ball skills, now that's where he wins. He's got a lot of explosion. He's got a wide catch radius. He definitely can go up and get it. It's just the rest of his game is kind of missing. And, I do like him though once he gets the ball as a yak receiver. Getting the ball to him quick and let him bully people, that's something. And then of course, I think with big receivers, they have an easier time translating depending on who they're playing with because that back shoulder fade is just so easy. Now the thing with him is, can he be physical against press corners? Because in the league, if I know they're going to back shoulder fade and do that stuff, I'm going to just press my corners and try to jam them. Now, can he move people out the way? Can he perfect that push off without getting flagged for it? That's going to be the question. Then we got James Washington, Oklahoma State, the Bolitnikoff winner. I like him. And my one question with him, I have respect for everything he does in his game. My one question is, how fast is he? Because the way I rate people's speed, he came out as a level 4, but everything I hear is how he's a burner. He could take the top off of defense and this and that. And I've seen him get behind people definitely in college, but again, college is slower and he wasn't burning anybody. He got behind them by a few steps. And if the ball hung up, which it does with Mason Rudolph, they always caught up. It's not like the NFL where you've seen guys, 5, 6, 7 steps down the field. I've never seen him burn anybody like that straight up in coverage. If it's zone, yeah, but we're talking about in straight coverage. So I don't know what his deep speed is. I know his agility is pretty elite. His feet and his cuts and his movement with his routes are really great. I like his hands. The only negative thing I would say is that when he tries to catch the ball in traffic across the middle, he dropped it a lot of times. He wasn't able to complete it. Now I still think he's a tough guy. He's 6 foot, built kind of like a running back. I like and you know what? His yak ability wasn't as good as I thought. He does play more like a possession receiver or a speed receiver kinda. But I thought he would be a little better with his yak. So it isn't that great, but he is a strong guy nevertheless. So, I like to see him make those catches, over the middle though. Then we got his running mate, Marcel Adman, who I was really impressed with actually, to be honest with you. This is a bigger guy, 6 foot 220, possession receiver, red zone target type of guy. Played very physical. I like the way that he, played against the jam. And I also like the way he set up his routes. So for a bigger guy, he ran pretty good routes. He didn't really stem and, set the route up, but off the line, he really set up the route with his stutters and his fakes. And so a lot of times with big receivers, they just go off the line and try to bully past somebody. He really used quick feet at the line to get the corner guessing to which way he was going and set up his route, especially his sharp slants. So I like his cuts. The way he can able to stop and start on a dime for a 6'4" guy was really impressive. And then of course he gives you everything a big receiver gives you with the ball skills and the ability to go up and get it. So I'm interested to see that. Of course, his long speed is going to be the question. And then I think his hands were just above average, so he could be better at that. Okay. Then we got Semi Cobbs out of Indiana, another 6', 220 guy. A lot of big guys this year. And he's a possession, / red zone receiver. He definitely lacks long speed and all those. This is more kind of like Cortland Sutton, where he doesn't have a lot of speed, doesn't have a lot of route running or a great route tree. It was more so just him with the back shoulder fades or throwing the ball up, catching the 50-50 ball. I didn't, he was okay with the ball in his hand. He's slow, but he has some power. He'll run through a corner or two. He's not that great of a blocker, and he doesn't get any separation on his routes. So this one's going to be tough for me. I think, I like him, and I think either he's a run-of-the-mill receiver on a bad team, or he's a pretty decent asset as a receiver number 4 or 5 on a good team. Then we got DJ Chark out of LSU. Man, I didn't get a lot of games of him. I saw him as a possession receiver. He's 6'4", but almost 200 pounds. They ran him with a lot of jet sweeps, and, he didn't get the ball a lot this year, which of course isn't his fault, but that just means, I didn't get to see as much of him as I would have liked. But you saw that, he was pretty good. I mean, I ended up grading him above average 3.5 in all the categories, and that might be a function of me not seeing a lot, but I just don't think he has great speed for a guy under 200 pounds. And he's a strider because he's so tall, which is fine, but I think he could get faster at that. I didn't see great agility, and honestly, I think his ball skills might be decent, but we didn't get a chance to see him put that to the test. And the route running, the one thing I really was hoping is that, he had a decent route tree, but that wasn't really the case either. Real simplistic routes. The cuts weren't that sharp. He didn't set any routes up, so that's what it was. And he body catched a lot. So, right now, I got him as a middle of the road prospect, but I don't know, looking at him practice and listening to him talking at the Senior Bowl, I think there might be something more there that LSU wasn't getting out of him. But, that remains to be seen. Then we got DJ Moore out of Maryland, 5'11", 215. And I think he's a possession receiver that they tried to use like a explosive slot receiver, but he really wasn't. I mean, they did a lot of screens with him, some bubbles, and they tried to do some jets, and I just don't think he's that guy. I mean, I thought his speed was 3.5. He was not that fast downfield. Now, he has good agility, he's good laterally, but his top end speed is really not there. And he was really ate up by defensive backs at the line pressing him in man coverage, and he didn't get separation. For a guy that's short, you gotta get separation. And so at 5'11", if you can't get away from man coverage in college, it doesn't look good for you at the next level. And then again, I thought he showed good catch rate. He's got some long arms, but we didn't get to see him explode. Didn't see him do a fancy route tree, and I saw him drop the ball way too many times. So a lot of average to above average grades for him, but I think when he played in the slot, he was a lot better. Projecting into the NFL, that might be his spot where he is a slot receiver and more of a possession type receiver, because I think he is good at that and his yak ability isn't super great. Okay. So many receivers. Michael Gallup from Colorado State. And that's another guy I need to see more tape, but I loved what I saw. I saw him do a lot. I saw him be possession. I saw him go deep passes downfield. I saw them throw to him in the end zone, like a red zone type of threat. I saw it all. I saw him get the ball and then yak. I said he had great yak ability. I like that he plays with power. He also has really loose hips and quick feet where he can make defenders miss. And then he gets after it in the blocking game, so that's always good. So I graded him out with a 4.5 speed, and I know this is definitely one I need to see more tape on. And of course, again, we can't wait to see what the 40 says, because he looks like he has legit speed down the field, and everything else he graded out as a 4. So I really liked what I saw. I'm not hearing great things from the community, but the community is always all over the place at this point. But from what I saw, I think this one might be a decent little steal that we'll be talking about. And if he puts up the numbers at the combine that it looked like on tape, then I think his name's going to pop up. Deontay Burnett from USC, very undersized. Didn't get a full report, but he's definitely a slot receiver at the next level. Possession receiver. Pretty good route running, knows how to find the open spots in the zone. Needs to work on his hands, but that's what he is. Then we got Anthony Miller out of Memphis. I'm gonna say it right now, and I'm okay with saying it. He reminds me of Antonio Brown, and I am not sure where he's slotted right now. I see people give him different grades. I saw one mock draft, he's second round. I think he's a beast. I think he's probably really close to Calvin Ridley as the best receiver in this draft. I mean, you talk about everything. The man has great, amazing route running where he breaks people up. His cuts, he sets up his routes with stems, with stutters. He knows the subtlety to leverage a corner or where the corner's trying to put his leverage. He knows how to break his route to get away. He looks great doing that. 5'11", can go up. He can explode and go get the ball. Has great timing. He tracks the ball very well. You never see him losing the ball in the air. There's some drops though. That's the one downfall I will say, is that he definitely has some drops. But you see him make these one-handed, which I'm not a huge fan of one-handed catches. As a coach, you know, we teach you to catch with two hands, but you can't deny some of the catches you've seen him make and say, well, yeah, obviously he's got good hands, but he drops the ball way too many times with easy ones. So that's just more concentration. But yeah, I mean, they ran him on sweeps. They used him on screens. He's super elusive, but he also plays with power. He'll run at you. And if you get him about 10 more pounds on and keep his speed, man, he could be, that's a rough kid. I think you got to watch him though. You go watch his tapes and you will be reminded, downtown Antonio Brown. Now, Alden Tate, Florida State. That sounded weird. 6'5", 225. A lot of people were talking about him. I mean, elite, basketball player type size. And I thought he was good. He was good. Possession, red zone. From what I saw, wasn't asked to run, that complicated of routes. But definitely can go up and get the ball. I think we got a couple guys like that this year, handful of guys like that this year, that just don't run a lot of routes. They don't have great speed, but they can go up, get you those 50-50 passes, and maybe get you a little bit in the yak game because of their size. Tre'Quan Smith out of Central Florida, another guy that I need to watch more tape, then write a full report. But I will tell you, I was impressed. I was really impressed. I got him down as a red zone threat and a yak receiver. This guy, once he gets the ball, kind of reminds me of a running back. I mean, he's fast. He's elusive. He's got great cuts. I mean, he runs determined. So I like the way that he got the ball and, can make yards after that. And he's got explosion. I mean, he's only 6'1", but, he plays big ball in the red zone. So interested to see where he tests out and hopefully get some more tape on him. Deshaun Hamilton from Penn State. He did a lot of things. I think he is a solid 4 across the board. I mean, you've seen him go downfield for the big plays. You saw him do the possession thing. You saw him do the screens and the yak stuff. I think he has a good all around game. His ability with the ball in his hand is above average. Average blocker, and I think he won't be a burner at the next level. I think his speed is pretty good, but it's not elite. His agility isn't great. His hips are a little stiff, but I like the way he runs his routes. I like the way he knows, how to find an open space and get open. He has some explosion. He can go up. He can also track the ball very well. So pretty, middle of the road receiver. Then I should have looked up how to pronounce this dude's name. Equanimus St. Brown from Notre Dame. Another guy didn't get to write up a full report, but man, he is impressive. You're talking about a 6'5" receiver that's a vertical threat. I rarely write that down on my notes, but this dude, goes down the field. That's what he can do, and he is fast. And I'm telling you, if he goes to the combine and runs in the 4.4s, his name's going to explode up the charts. This is one I definitely got my eye on, for the Chicago Bears. I love Notre Dame players. We all do. But I really think that right now he's being slept on because he didn't have much production at all this year. And that was so much more because they had a trash quarterback, than anything else. You saw him with Kaiser and you saw that he played a lot better last year. But either way, you got a big, tall dude, quick feet, quick hips, and I would like to see him put on a little more weight, without losing speed, but still, you could give him the ball, he could run after the catch, he could do all those things little receivers do, but he's 6'5", so I'm excited to see what he does, and just kind of see where his hands are too. Okay, last one, Allen Lazard from Iowa State, 6'5", 222. This, again, possession receiver, red zone type guy. One of those back shoulder fade type guys. I love his blocking. I'll give him that. He has a lot better blocking than a lot of people. But other than that, I think his route running, again, is average to above average. No real top end speed, no agility. However, I love his ball skills. I mean, you see him make great, hand-eye coordination, plays with the ball. And he tracks it very well, and he definitely can go up and get it. Out of all the basketball type receivers, I would say he's one of my favorites. So, if that means anything. But I don't know. These guys, it'll be interesting to see. I think they're all going to be mid-rounders just because there's so many of them. But I think Allen Lazard deserves his name up there with Alden Tate and the other, Simi Cobbs and the other big boys. Okay, so those are all the receivers that I got somewhat, reports on. Javon Williams, I saw a little bit of him from Georgia. I like what I saw, actually. And then Kiki Cody from Texas Tech. I actually like him, too. Cody looks like he might be the fastest receiver out of this bunch. Now, he was burning somebody. For all those people that say James Washington is a burner, watch Kiki from Texas Tech. That's burning somebody downfield. That's taking the top off. So those two, hopefully they get more tape because I think they're actually going to be higher rated receivers than a lot of these guys already looked at. But yeah, so that's the group. If I had to say, my personal picks, I would still put Calvin Ridley at the top. As I said before, he's just the most complete. And then Anthony Miller is up there for me as a number 2. I'm not going to lie about that. And then surprisingly enough, until I get more tape, I will put both of the Oklahoma State guys right after Anthony Miller, because James Washington, he's going to find the mode. If he's not a burner, then he's going to be a really great route runner and possession receiver. And then Aitman, if, he gets picked up, people are going to be really surprised with his ability to run routes, for his size. So I think both of them are going to offer you a little more than what these other guys are offering you as a possession receiver and as a red zone threat. And then, like I said, there's a couple more receivers, actually, a lot more that need to be seen. So they might be up there, but for right now, those are the guys that I really like. Okay. Lastly, finally, we're going to do the real grade. I know this is a long one. The Chicago Bears 2015. I was in the house for this draft. A lot of you guys were probably in the house for this draft. This is Ryan Pace's first draft, and we pull up 2015. Number 1, we got Kevin White as of now, still with the team. Has not done anything for us. We got Eddie Goldman, second round, still with the team, starter, really good player. Round 3, we got Haranis Grasu, still with the team, backup. We got round 4, Jeremy Langford, no longer with team. Number 5, Adrian Amos, still with the team, now starter, and supposedly the best safety in the league, according to PPF or whatever. And then round 6, I can't pronounce this guy's name, Teo something, not with the team. I don't even know who that is, to be honest. But okay, so 6 players, 4 still with the team. Of the 4, we got 2 that are starters. And I hesitate to say Adrian Amos is a potential star, so I'm going to just call him a starter. We got 2 really good starters out of the 4, and then we got 1 that's a rotational guy, provides depth, even though a lot of people don't like him when he plays. And then we got 1 that does not play because of injury. So, as the Chicago Bears fans know, this is tough to talk about because Kevin White, everybody labels a bust. I don't label people bust for injuries because you didn't get to see what they can do. Yes, if you can't stay healthy, that sucks. It's not good. It's not ideal. But to sit here and say that somebody was supposed to know that is a little tough, because I always say unless they had some pre-existing injury that could have went bad, or that could potentially jeopardize their career, then you can't blame them on it. Injuries happen. And then if an injury happens and is bad enough where it becomes chronic, how is that anybody's fault? And then again, when it happens matters. So Kevin White got injured before he could ever play, and then he never really got to play for us. So I'm not going to call him a bust. It's not a good pick, of course, because there's no production, but I'm not calling him a bust. Who knows? But again, so you got Jeremy Langford. That's the one that's kind of a sticking point. And this is all biased because I love Jeremy Langford. I don't know why we let him go. But he is a 4th round pick. You would like to see him stay, but it's not critical. But your 5th round pick is a starter for you, and was a starter as a rookie. So you get big points there. And then Eddie Goldman, 2nd round, he should be a starter. So the thing is that number 1 pick with Kevin White. So where could we fall on this? This is a tough draft, and this is why you got to look back after 3 years to really get an idea of what's going on, because we know Eddie Goldman is a rock solid NFL player. We know Amos is a rock solid NFL player. Gersu is probably a career backup. This is tough. Kevin White was number 7, so you also got to put that in there. Top 10. That hurts. I'm gonna give this draft a C-. It would definitely be a D if it wasn't for Adrian Amos being a starter out of the 5th round. You got big points for pulling the start out from the lower rounds. And then you kept most of your players. Langford even was on the team twice. So, all in all, I'm gonna give it a C-. Yeah, so I'm sure the Bears fans got a lot of they got a lot of different opinions on that draft class and what Ryan Pace did with it. But either way, thank you guys for listening. Definitely go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about these receivers. Who are you excited for? Who do you think is the best? All that good stuff. Tune in. I'll be putting up a Bear Trap episode specifically talking about the Bears and what receivers they should go after pretty soon. So we'll talk more about these rookies. And yeah, so go to the comment section. Let me know. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around with all your NFL friends. And thank you for listening.